But thank you everybody. We appreciate you all for being on all these platforms: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, website, etc. And we once again want to ask the question, what is it that's preventing you from being a beast at all times? What is the thing in your life that's stopping you from being able to get it? Right? Is it accountability? Is it lack thereof? Is it listening to the wrong people? Is it not believing in yourself? What is it that's causing you to not reach what you're supposed to reach? What is it that's causing you to not reach what you're supposed to reach? And what is it that you can do about it? Right? Don't have that many people on probably because it took me so long to be able to get all these platforms on. It is what it is, though. For those of you that are real, you're going to get something that's going to bless you today. And really, it's up to you, the amount of blessing, as always. Really, as always, it's up to you. You have to make the commitment. I can't sacrifice for you. You got to sacrifice for self. I can't put in the hours for you. You got to put in the hours for self. I can't force you to be about something. Those that are on YouTube, I apologize. The lighting in here is not great, so I'm going to be very fuzzy on this video for you all. But I can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you, right? Nobody can do it for you. Like, you got to do this for yourself. What are you willing to do? What's the level you're willing to go to? What's the grind? Oh wow, thank you. I've never seen that music one before with the wavy staff. That's pretty. What's the grind that you're willing to put on, right? Look, yesterday we were on live. Went into a place of doing a coaching session. Went from there to getting on the road. Went from there to making sure that we were good as far as a place to stay. Went from there to making sure that our son was great to go. Went from there from planning what we're going to do today, right? Went from there to doing the video 6:30 a.m. in the morning. Went from there to doing this video. Went from there to having issues with signal and not knowing how I was going to get some of this stuff on here, right? And being in confusion. But guess what? We're here. Like, you have a position that you have. You have a calling that you have. You have something on your life that it demands excellence. It demands execution, right? The time is over to have reasons why you can't execute. We usually call those excuses. Let me say it like this: the time is over to have reasons for lack of execution. That TION on that word, by the way, means that you arrived in the place because of not executing. So let me say it like this: for not executing, right? Like, the time is over for us to be in a position to where we're going through stuff because we don't execute correctly. Right? Like, that's one of the issues that's holding us back as a diaspora, as a person, as a human being, as somebody who needs different things, as somebody who lacks confidence, somebody who needs more competence, whatever the case might be. Like, the time is over. Hear what I'm saying? The time is over for the reasons, for the excuses, for the reasons to say, this is why I'm not executing. We always had a reason why I'm not executing. Hey, mama, how you doing? Praying for you still. And haven't had a chance to look at the DMs. Hopefully you're doing well and praying for your healing. Like these are, like, why is it that you're not executing? First of all, let's be honest about it. Like, right, I wish I could see hands. I would say raise your hands. But, quick question for you. Just be honest. You don't have to say if you want to, you can say, I am, or this and that, or whatever. Like, be honest. Is there something in your life that you're not executing in? I mean, not talking about I'm talking about you don't execute at all, right? Is there something in your life that causes you not to execute at all? And I apologize if I'm being repetitive. I was kind of in a different headspace earlier, so I'm not sure what I did or didn't say earlier, right? But however, are you not executing, right? And if you're not executing, the question is why, right? Thank you for the love, Chef, right? The question then has to become why. Many things, okay? So the question has to become why. Not just why are you not executing, right? The question, first of all, is, do you have a why that says that I will execute no matter what? Like, why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? Okay, I see you, Brother Derek, right? Who are you doing this for? Why are you doing this? What is the point of this exercise, as my cousin would say? Space says, fatigue of maintaining a high focus, high performance character is stopping me, feeling like I always have to provide this energy at that level without the people in my life following my example. I hear you. That's a lot, but that's all real, right? So those can be things that are causing us not to execute, right? But what I'm saying is today we're going to discuss that. Guess what? You still must execute. Fear, somebody said. Physical pain, somebody said. No utilizing the time properly. So maybe you're talking about not chunking the time, or maybe talking about procrastination, right? Somebody said no, they executed and everything. Okay, kudos to you. You don't have anything that you could do better, right? You said yourself many things. Okay, so yeah, so check this out. So in executing and getting something done, right? Because my son's over there passing gas in his sleep. In executing and getting stuff done. Hello, sir. How you doing? All right, shalom. So in executing the different things, you have to figure out what is it, why is it, right? Why is it that you're not executing, and what is your why, right? And what is your why, right? Somebody said focus, right? What is your why? Why is it? See, one thing that I found is that if I have a reason why, right? Okay, sure. If I have a reason why, right, then I'm going to usually execute, right? And a lot of people don't have a reason why. A lot of people want to execute, but you don't have a reason why, or your why is too small, right? Or your why is too small. Why are you doing this? Could be too small. Like you might be trying to execute because your why is, well, I just want to live a nice life. Well, okay, what is living a nice life? Living a nice life could be that you know.
The word why?
Yeah, the word why. Huh?
Like the word why are you going out?
Right, yeah. But I'm talking about the reason why somebody does something. So like somebody can have like a why where like they're saying like for example, you might like you like to do stuff like your flips and everything, but you get better at your flips because now you want people to be able to see how to flip and teach them and do YouTube videos, right? So your why changes the effort you put into your stuff, right? And the same thing is like with us, you know, like why, you know, there needs to be a reason why that's greater, right? The greater your why is, the greater the effort will be into changing your situation, right? So like the greater your why is, you know, a lot of people don't think that what they do is more important than the video game. You know how I know? Because a lot of people spend 2-3 hours a night on a video game, then talk about they can't start their own business, right? A lot of people will spend money on Roblox for the children to make sure their Roblox character can, you know, have all the different clothes that they have. A lot of people will make sure, what's one of the ones that my boys are into, what?
Minecraft?
No, it's one of the big ones that, like, you know, everybody comes in, they parachute down, you start shooting at each other. One of those there's like 3 or 4 versions of that now. But basically, when you come down or whatever, and so they'll ask me for money, but they want it because they want to get a sleeve. They call them the sleeve, where like the character, instead of having the normal characters you get, you can put on like a LeBron James suit, or you can put on Call of Duty. Fortnite is the one. Yeah, I don't even know if it's Fortnite or it was the other one. Basically, Fortnite is close to it, and like, but you know, they can put on that, and it's like, but that's $20. Like, you didn't want $20 to start your own business. You didn't want $20 to make sure that you know that I know you got the phone bill coming. You don't want to make sure that the phone bill was taken care of. No, I might be able to scramble that. Then they don't pay that either. You know, but one, like, now it's, Dad, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's like, no, you got to get to a place where like you've got to execute. When we start looking at our lives, now those are extreme examples, right? Those are extreme examples. However, these are not the only examples, right? Like, those are extreme, but let's be honest. How many of us have put ourselves in an environment, right? Yes, I do. How many of us have put ourselves in an environment where we are constantly, consistently working on those things? Yeah, the Podbean. Yeah, we had the Podbean app is up. The podcast is on right now. Not sure how long it'll be on, in all honesty, but it should be on for us to finish this up. You know, but when you're talking about going to the next level, you got to execute. You got to be a beast, even when the time is at its worst. right? You got to be a beast even at times that it's worse. All the music's going to be controlled right now, so we'll have all that coming up for you guys soon. But just I don't have all that stuff up. We had some of it on YouTube. They took down the first YouTube channel, so now we're creating another one, and we're going to have some stuff up on there very soon in some specific places that you got to come through us to get. That being said, though, we're talking about executing. And a lot of people do not execute. Execute means getting it done, right? A lot of people talking about, oh, I'm executing. No. A lot of people are on the vision journey, and I'm glad you got to have the vision. A lot of people but execution is the purpose. Purpose is daily manifestation that gets me to what it is that I've seen. And a lot of people are not living in purpose. They do not execute. They cannot execute. They don't recognize how to execute. They don't know how to execute. They don't know how to live a life in which they're executing. So they'll put all this energy into everything else, right? They got all this energy into YouTube. They got all this energy into Netflix. They have all this energy into all these different things, but don't have energy into executing, right? So we don't want you to there's no more excuses for not executing. There's no more reason why you can no longer execute, right? That's what we want to come out of this with. Okay. So we no longer have a reason to not, or at least some of us do have reasons for not executing. You said, I'm sorry, okay, but should you always execute, or is it good to fail sometimes? Nobody said that you can't fail, right? But failing would be to just stop, correct? Nobody said that you will never make a mistake. That's not what I said. What I said is there's no reason to not execute. So a lot of people will say, well, fail and learn from the failure. Okay, learn from the failure so that you execute better the next time, right? But don't fail and then just stop. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people have a position in life where they're like, okay, every time I fail, it's a reason to stop. It's a reason to quit. You know, somebody left my life in shambles. So question, is your life over, or are you going to live your life? Are you going to be somebody that lives in shambles, or are you going to pick up pieces? Right? He said some human spirits just don't want anything. I have family members that only want handouts. Well, yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people do. A lot of us live by handouts. A lot of people file taxes so that you can get a handout. You know, a lot of people make sure that you go to a school or send your child to a school. I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm just saying, like, giving examples. Some people send their children to school so that somebody else can teach them, right, and hand them out an education, and they don't check on what their children are doing, right? Like the question really becomes like, what are you going to do? You said every failure is a reason to improve. Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's what I said. Find a reason, find something that failure, and make sure that you don't do it again so that you can execute. Don't just fail and say, well, I failed. At least I tried. Like, okay, you failed. At least you tried. Now, what are you going to do with the failure? What's the executing? What is going to be executed from this failure? My marriage failed. It didn't work. Okay, did you learn some things that you could have done better? Right? It's always interesting that people will not execute, and they'll have a second, third, fourth, fifth marriage. And it's like, well, how are you in your second, third, fourth, fifth, and you never adjust yourself? You said when you have a wife that condemns you and tells you that you won't succeed, you start to believe it. Well, I mean, I can hear you on that. That's true. That's very true. And without getting into some of the conversations that we've had, what you're saying is very true. You can start to believe it. Once again, though, now what are some things we can put in place to execute? So if she's going to be part of my life or not going to be part of my life, that's for you to discuss and to talk about. That's for you to be able to try and deal with or whatever. Solomon, can you close the door while you're using the restroom, sir? Thank you. So, you can deal with those things however you want to deal with them, right? But let's just be honest about it. Like, all right, she's not going to listen. You're not able to do this, get this, or whatever. All these different things. Okay, so what am I learning out of that? What am I growing into? And as long as she is my wife, as long as I'm going to sow into her, as long as I'm going to have to love her, as long as I have to have some things that come into loving myself. Or do you have I hate to use the term mantras, but do you have like a mantra that you can use? Do you have something that you can utilize that helps you to show love? Do you have something that when an argument's going to start, that you already have something that says, hey, you can yell all you want, but I can go ahead and just take a walk. I can go ahead and just go to another room, and then when I come back from my walk, I'll still come back with flowers. Like, I'm here to tell you, like, I know what it is to argue, just like everybody else knows what it is to argue, right? In a relationship or whatever. Like, I can argue and do all this stuff or whatever, but now I've learned, hey, after we finish or whatever, guess what? Like, I still gotta love you. So, okay, like, there might have been some things said between you and I that were harsh, this and that or whatever. What am I gonna be able to do now to make sure that I come back and I place these flowers in front of you still, and I still kiss you, and I still say I love you, and I still make sure that I say I'm still provide these things or whatever. And as long as you're over here, guess what? You're still gonna get this love. Now, I'm not gonna be a doormat, but as long as you're here, you're gonna get more love from me than you're gonna get frustration from me. You got the thing over there, right? Like, so these are things that and I'm not saying it's that easy. Every case is zone, and this is not obviously a one-on-one session, so I'm not gonna go into a place of doing one-on-one type stuff here, because honestly, once again, like, I don't know what the other side is. I don't know certain things or whatever. What I'm saying is, take things that you've learned. For example, something simple outside of a husband and wife thing that we could easily address, right? Something very simple. You ready for this? Outside of a husband or wife thing. At least learn that next time I need to know what a husband or wife is before I get married. Right? At least learn that much. What did I learn about being a husband or wife? Right? What did I learn about being a husband or wife? And we don't care about Biden or Trump or Obama or whoever on here. We're not here to talk about things that dehumanize. So thank you for being on. That's an odd statement, right? But like, what are some things that you can learn about being a husband or wife already, so that when a husband applies, right, or somebody applies to be your husband, you can check his credentials to say you're in fact a husband. Before you find a wife, do you know what a wife is? So that when you go looking, you will be like, this is what I'm looking for. You have these values. You have this type of stuff. You know what it is to be a mother. I've met your parents. I've seen your environment. I know what it is that you believe. We've had Bible study together. We've done all these different things, right? And so a lot of people, they're going into stuff. They're trying to become married. And then after they become married, then all of a sudden they want to go into a place of, what it is. Right? So after they become married or whatever, then they want to go to a place of now I want to become a husband or a wife. Now I want to hold you accountable. Now I'm going to tell you what a man is. Now I want to tell you what a woman is. Like, learn some of those things, right? Like, your life can be an example of that. Hey, if I have children out of this, what are the things that I learned? What are the things my children learned from my behavior, from my ex's behavior, where now I need to correct those things. I need to let you know that what you saw, that was not a marriage, and you had two people that didn't know what marriage was, but we're going to teach you the right culture. You're going to break the chain. And you can take something that was terrible for them to maybe experience and say, hey, I want you to experience something that's greater. Right? Like, you're going to have to deal with this somewhat, because for the rest of your life, because of you, we will still be connected to each other. However, you don't have to have the same connection point with anybody else. Like, there's a lot of things that you can look at. You said just wondering what type of job field Kofi's into is all. See if he does public speaking or something. Okay, I didn't hear the first part of whatever he was saying, if somebody was talking to this person. But I do what I do now. This is what I do. I change lives one mind at a time, but being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. We do that by feeding, healing, teaching, creating community, having people learn how to invest, how to be able to own, all types of stuff. That's what I do. So sometimes that includes public speaking, sometimes it doesn't. But I do. This is what we do. So yeah, but once again, what can you do? Getting back to like the overall point, what can you do to be a beast, right? To be somebody that's powerful, to be somebody that succeeds, to be somebody that pushes all the time, not sometimes, but all the time. What are you doing to develop that? Matter of fact, let's talk about that. What is your development? What are your habits of developing that mindset? Right, like what is it that you're doing to cause yourself to have an environment where you can develop that mindset? Do you have things that you can go for? Like, do you have it set up where you can go for a walk? Like, and think about things? Right? Do you have it set up where You can read a book to yourself. Are there specific times for single parents out there, or even regular parents who say things? Do you guys have it set up to where, like, at these specific times, I don't bother me. I'm gonna be in a room by myself. I get this 30 minutes, this hour to myself every day. And watch this. Then when you set this stuff up, are you going to make sure you're going to hit that mark no matter what? Like, if I'm supposed to be up at 5 a.m. in the rising, then I should be getting up at 5 a.m. every day, right? If I'm, how you going to, and you got to find ways to even make time, right? Like, make the time. People talk about redeem the time. Like, make the time. Make the time. Betty said, "Do you mean learn biblical or society?" I'm sorry, I didn't recognize. I don't remember what I was talking about at that part, Betty. I apologize. Maybe you can bring that back for me. You said, "Can you truly execute when you have unmet needs?" Well, the question is, in all honesty, will you ever be 100% as far as everything you need? Some people say, yeah, because you got money, this and that. Even rich people will tell you there's some things they need they don't have. So what is it that you can always improve in? The necessity for improvement should never be the reason why you won't improve in something, right? The necessity for improvement in something doesn't necessarily mean you can't improve in something else. Now, sometimes, yeah, it is hard, but that's why I said, even what we're talking about now, I saw your question just now, so I probably ain't going out of order, but that's why I was just talking about, like, what is the environment that you have? Do you truly have an environment that allows you to even have this discussion, right? Like, a lot of people talk about they want their children to succeed. They want their children to learn certain things. They don't want their children to be stagnant in growth or not, or think like they thought or whatever and have to learn the truth later on in life. Well, real talk, like, if your child isn't being homeschooled or you haven't created an environment for that, they're probably going to learn the same thing that you learned. Like, you might be able to go and tell them that's not true, but they're still going to have to answer it on the test, right? Like, they're still going to have to go through a lot of those things. And so, we don't have a mindset. We don't have a thought process that says, what can we do to cause those things? What's the environment? What are the friends that you hang out with? Or who are the friends? I said, what are the friends? Who are the friends that you hang out with? Are they people who are always talking about, like, you're the biggest fish in the pond and you're trying to grow? Because it's fine to hang around them from time to time, but you need to be around some people that are going to push you. And if they're okay with you just staying at the same point and never growing, you might want to find somebody that will challenge you. So that's talking about marriage, but we made the point. Okay, cool. So, but even something as simple as being on time. How many people are on time? Like, you say you're going to do this and then you're not on time. How many people just struggle with that, right? Like, if you struggle with being on time. Now, here's the thing, because you will be on time for certain things. This is what I find a lot of times. Right? A lot of times, people who say that they are not like you'll hear people say weird stuff. I'm not a morning person. But when it comes to making that bread, when you need to be at work at 9 a.m., you're a morning person. Well, I'm not really a morning person. I don't like morning. No. It doesn't matter if you like mornings or not, right? Or risings or not. Like the morning, right? We say the rising here. It doesn't matter if you like risings or not, or grinding in the morning or whatever. At the end of the day, when you know you need that check, you're going to do what you need to do, because your why is something that you believe in now. You catch that? Your why is something you believe in. Some of you will say you're not morning people, but you'll work third shift. How does that work? Where do they do that at? Third shift is during the rising, or even before the rising. So how are you saying you're not somebody that is able to actually do well in that? Right? Well, it's a matter of integrity, right? It's a matter of accountability. It's a matter of, there's a reason why you can't beast right now. There's a reason why you can't go at these dreams and these goals. It's not because you can't do it. It's because you don't will it. You ever heard somebody, you've heard somebody, you said this, I will do this, I will do that, I will be here, I will be there, I will present this, I will present that, right? That means as a matter of my will, it shall be done. But a lot of us have a mindset that when I say I will something, that your will really ain't there. So you say, I will become sovereign. You don't have the will for it. That could break your back if you're not careful, right? People say, I will speak. Are you going to put in the time and effort to learn how to make sure that you're speaking, what books to read, how to reach people, how to be able to learn human nature, how to be able to know when you should look somebody in the eye or this and that? If you have problems looking somebody in the eye for whatever reason, how to look at their forehead instead of them? Do you know how to make sure that you can raise your voice certain times, and sometimes if you want to gather them to be able to speak a little more softly, so that even a room that is full of a whole bunch of people speaking, everybody will stop to be able to listen to the person that's speaking? Do you know when to put those things into place? Right? Like that's all speaking. Before we talk, people are talking about the accolades from speaking and not even realizing that before you get to the accolades, you got to learn how to speak. Right? It's a result of your will. I will do this. Right? But people only want to do it when it's convenient, when everything works. Right? And I'm not saying that, look, I'm not saying that some of this stuff, obviously there's going to be some exceptions to every one of these rules that we're talking about in here, right? There can be an exception where, yes, all right, I would homeschool my child, but I got to work, during the day, right? But here's the deal. Fine. Can you find a third shift job that would allow you to homeschool your child? Because if so, right, then you could do it. Well, who's going to watch my child in the evening? Do you have an aunt? Do you have a mother? Do you have a sister? Do you have somebody that you can trust? Have you set up something where you can not have no excuse, no reason? That's a big one too. Nobody wants to experiment. Nobody wants to try something new because we become what? We're okay. Remember we talked about this, what was this, a few days ago? You can be okay with what you're against and you can be against with what you're okay with. Right? And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. That's real. That's a real thing. A lot of people are okay with what they're against. I don't like poverty, but then are okay with doing things that poor people would do. And that sounds harsh, but I'm somebody like from the streets, like literally homeless, right? So I'm poor. If you want to talk about an eternity, I guess you could say I'm not, but in the timeline, I was a poor person, right? And dealt with money issues and dealt with not knowing what I was going to eat next, or at least had to depend on somebody for things. So I get it, right? I'm not saying that I've never had any issues, so I get it. But what I'm saying is that even when I was homeless, guess what I was doing? This, right? Even when I was homeless and I didn't know how much something would cost, and therefore if I would be able to afford to do something, I still was doing this, right? Even when I was homeless, I was preaching to people and teaching people about being rich and being wealthy in the kingdom, and even making sure we understood equity, right? I didn't stop at the fact that I was homeless and say, well, because I'm homeless, I can't improve something or I can't begin to even think, right? Because so is a man or a woman thinketh, so are they, right? So are you. If your thought process is, I can't move in something until I reach it, then how do you start obtaining the unreachable? Right? Did you catch that? If your thought process is, I can only obtain something when it is reachable, then how can you obtain the unreachable? Right? If you have a belief system that says, I can't move in a journey until I get money, right? Then question, like let's just be honest. If I can't move, if I can't start the business until I get money, then you might not ever start the business. Did Bill Gates have money when he started the business? Did Steve Jobs have money? Now, look, I get it for both of them. If we be honest, we got to be honest about this, right? They were both living in Silicon Valley already, so they weren't poor, but they didn't have millions and billions of people to put this stuff together. Matter of fact, Bill Gates was somebody, even though I know there's a lot of stuff about Bill Gates, I wouldn't necessarily say was holy or great, or was a great example, right? But Bill Gates was considered to be a problem in school. He was considered to be somebody that couldn't comprehend or understand that well. And then when they asked him about it when he got older, he said, well, honestly, my problem was never that I couldn't understand. He was like, school was too slow for me. He was like, so I did poor in school because I didn't care about school. Right? So here he was in school saying he was tired of school. He got tired of school at a young age because he was like, this is not going to help me to reach my goal. Now, he could have went through the system. He could have done what everybody said. Hey, parents probably on him. Hey, make sure you get all those A's. Make sure you start listening to the teacher. Make sure you do everything you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to do in order to make it in society. And he could have done that and never became who he became. Right? So you have to get into a position, into a place where these things are real. Like these things are a real possibility because you have made the environment. You got to create the environment. You got to create, like we talk about being creative and stuff. Create an environment. People talking about creating content, creating art, creating this and that. Create an environment. Create an environment. Right? Like today is not necessarily, even though I'm chilling out and stuff, but today is not necessarily the greatest setup that I have to be able to get this point across to you all, right? But I'm here, right? I was on time. It took me a little while to get everything going, but I was on time, right? And as soon as I end this, I got to pack up all this stuff that's set up. I got a whole setup here for this, right? And several different platforms that we're on at the same time. Got a whole huge thing going on. But guess what? As soon as I do, got to pack it up. Got to make sure I'm ready to get there, travel, make sure that I teach my son some things. We're going to go see some things and some environment stuff that we're trying to look at as far as what will help us to be different as a community, but we build our own stuff physically and stuff. Got to do all that stuff to get. There's not one thing that's going to stop me. And guess what? Then I'm going to have to travel a couple hours to make sure that I get back to the residence. And when I get back to the residence, guess what? Still got a session that's going to be live at 8 o'clock p.m. Still got to teach on marriage tonight for our marriage class. I don't get to stop. I don't get to stop just because it's going to be a lot today. I don't get to stop and be like, man, you know what? Like, I don't know if this is really going to be affordable for me to do this, right? Like the place that we went, you can see this is like a children's hotel. So it's like a unique place. It costs, right? However, like it's part of what I needed to address and part of me not being around for my family for quite some time. Remember, I told you for months now, I have not really been in a position to even spend family time. That's why Wednesday nights went away on the lives, because I had to at least be around one night a week, right? For them to be able to see what's going on. And then I started still doing classes on Wednesday anyways, which means that it's only a small time, right? So besides Sunday, like this is something where the investment is not even in this. The why for me doing this has nothing to even do with finances. My child needed an investment from his father to strengthen in him and show him, hey son, look, I'm gonna be here every day and stuff, but I want you to see right off the jump. Here I am, Sunday family day. We still involved in family day, making it move to the next day. And on some of the stuff I'm doing now that I got extra time, come on with me, right? This is an investment. This is a why. This isn't a random thing. This is a why right here, right? This is a why. I'm doing this because it's something greater. Like some people would just say, oh, it's nice you took your child out on vacation. No. This is a why right here. You know, also too, he started his YouTube channel, right? Now somebody was out here trying to be rude yesterday, or it was the day before, or whatever, talking about, oh, you're trying to, you know, basically like proselytize, you know, prostitute your child and make money off him or whatever, which we don't make any money off their YouTube channel, and we don't plan on doing anything until he's old enough to, if he wants to make money off it, he can, right? But here's the deal. If where he is right now, we specifically chose this so that we can also put it on the YouTube channel. So people who are part of his YouTube channel, he's going somewhere and doing stuff so that you would get a YouTube experience, right? So not only is it family time, not only this, but we're investing in him as far as what his goal, his dream, his vision is, right? The why it is. So I'm in beast mode because what I'm doing right now, where I'm sitting, is not just about me, or it's not just about confidence, or not just about making sure that he gets it. There's a holistic thing. Like this is bigger than just I'm sitting here in a hotel. This is, I chose a specific hotel. Well, actually his mama did, but you know, I agreed to it, and we chose the specific hotel simply because we need to make sure that he is going to have something that's greater. So when he looks back, when he looks at that YouTube channel, right, and he looks at that YouTube video when it comes out, every day it comes out, as all his YouTube videos, right, when they come out, he's going to be able to look back and remember experiences, right? Just like what is my why for making sure that I own, right, rather than paying rent? See, a lot of people were just like, oh, well, ownership. Oh, no. Why was it that I was speaking ownership when we finally went into ownership of properties? We've been ownership properties since we've been together, but we have 2 properties now, right? And why is it that we went into ownership of properties early? Because we recognize that there's going to come a time where we need money. And guess what? Like, and to have your own money means you need to come out the system. And to be able to come out the system, you need to have your own stuff. You need to grow your own food. And guess what happened? COVID happened. We had just got the property, 1 year, 2 years before. And so now, all of a sudden, we don't know what we're going to do financially. Wife was actually still the breadwinner, transitioning. I was starting to work more and more and more, but she was still the breadwinner. And then all of a sudden, like, job paused, where they were like, well, we might keep you, might not. Then job went to, well, you can't work for anybody else, but you can't go. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, transition happened where we were there, and guess what we had in place already, right? Transition happened to where I was growing. I was able to take care of more and more, boom, boom, boom. And also now she needs to be the way that I was, you know, looking up to her at one point, and then transitioning over to me and stuff like that to take care of and be in my rightful position where I should have been the whole time. Well, guess what? Like now it's up to you. But in the midst of that, we had already said, get that house in order. So now, even when we had the house, we didn't have bills. We didn't have car payments. We didn't. You see what I'm saying? We don't have car payments. We don't have the house payment. We did those things even with and we got the house for cheap, and had to rebuild, basically revamp and rebuild the house. But we got the house, and we're still living in there. When the house wasn't even complete, didn't even have electricity and stuff, I was going to the house to be able to sleep in there at night. You know why? Because there's a transition. There's a transition to stuff. There was no excuse. There's no reason for us to not reach the goals and stuff that we're supposed to be reaching and growing and obtaining. There was no reason for us to not be able to get to the next level. Right? There was no reason for us to not be able to get to the next level. You hear what I'm saying? Once again, there was no reason for us to not get to the next level. There was no excuse. So if I got to sleep in a place to make sure that nobody breaks in, all by myself in the middle of the night with nothing but that thing on me, I'm going to be honest with you, make sure I'm protected, right? Or if they're going to sleep there, I'm going to make sure I got something to protect them, right? But up until then, we don't even have the electricity and stuff like that set up or whatever. So if I got to go over there, check on certain things, work on things through the middle of the night, have people coming through all night long, checking on them, doing this stuff or whatever I got to do to make sure that we have a place to stay, we were going to be there. So guess what? Now, here comes adversity. Here comes COVID. Everybody else has no clue what they're going to be able to do, losing their mind. What are we going to do? What are we going to do for jobs and that? We got money saved up. I've transitioned to where now I got the stuff together anyway, so you ain't got to worry about the money thing no more, baby. You shouldn't have had to worry about it from the beginning. That's me not being in position, but I promise you ain't got to worry about it no more. Like, you don't have to worry about this. We don't have to worry about that car note. We don't have to worry about all those things are in place. Why? Because we executed. We didn't wait. And here's the reason why, if we be honest with you, the reason why a lot of people, if we can just make this real simple, the reason why a lot of people deal with adversity or can't be a beast except when times are good. They can't deal with being in a great position except for when things are in a bad position, so to speak. The reason why people can't deal with stuff is because you didn't prepare for the adversity. Right? Thank you, Noah Brown. Right? It's because you didn't prepare for the adversity. See, you prepared for the great time, but you didn't prepare for the adversity. A lot of people are prepared for greatness. They're not prepared for adversity. But you have to be great in adversity. See, when adversity hits, I love adversity. First of all, I've been ready for adversity my whole life. I've been the black sheep of my family just because of the color of my skin. Some people talking about all this stuff about racism and stuff like that is always interesting to me because people don't know that even though my family's Shui on my mother's side, because of things that happened to their family through rape and things like that during chattel slavery and things over in the Caribbean, like a lot of them passed for white, including my own mother. Now if you pay attention to my features and you were to see a picture of my mom and I actually I look just like my mom. Certain angles I look just like my father. I got my skin color from my father. So it's always interesting to me when I have people talking about I don't like white people because it's like I used to think my mother was white until I realized she was passing. And people don't know that in my own family, my father's side of the family didn't like my mother because she was white. And my mother's side of the family didn't like my father because he was black. And then it wasn't until I was born that the grandmothers started to talk to each other. Now, my father's mother never really talked too much to my mama, but she at least listened to my mama and stuff when I was born. And my grandmother, who passed for white, who didn't really like my father until I was born, they became great friends. So much so that my mother used to get irritated because she'd be like, you talk to him more than you talk to me. Right? I didn't know that until I got to be a little older. Right? I didn't know those things until I got to be a little older. But this is stuff that's real. Right? So it's always interesting to me. I'll find people who will come on here and just automatically say, you don't like white people. And I'm like, man, if you knew my family, that's why I say, like, when people say, where are you from? Like, if you really want to get into where I'm from or where my people are from, like, I represent the whole world. Like, at this point, there's nobody in my family. I don't think there's anybody in the world. I don't care if you're Asian, whatever you are. I don't care if you're Asian, if you want to say you're Spanish, if you want to say you're Taino, if you want to say you're Shui, if you want to say you're Taiwanese, if you want to say whatever you are. Like, there's probably nobody on the planet that I can't attach myself to without doing, like, you know how to do that thing, 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, whatever that game is, or whatever, 7 Degrees of Separation on the movie games and stuff. Like, I don't think there's anybody you can actually on the planet as far as nationality that I would be able to separate from, right? But people will come on here and just assume that I don't like white people because of the way I'm dressed or because of my hair or something like that, or because I say that I'm an Israelite or whatever, right? People can't stand truth sometimes, so they just find ways to cut you off ad hominem. Nevertheless, getting back into what I'm talking about, in being in this situation and being of this mindset of being of this thought process, you have to be in a position to where even when people come across and say things like that, like I understand adversity. I grew up in it. I was the black sheep. I still am, technically. Like, in my family, people know all these great things that we're doing, and yet still, because I represent that union that people don't like, I'm the odd man out. So I still don't get phone calls to certain things. I still can, I'm telling you guys straight up truth. For years, used to have everybody's number and name on a list. Used to contact and call everybody once a week. Maybe had one or two people, and these were people that really weren't even my family, like my aunt, but my aunt by marriage, who was even divorced from my uncle and other people, and my father. That's it. Calling these people all the time just to say hello and check in with you and want you to know that I love you, and nobody pick up the phone, right? So this is part of my journey. Yeah, it's not an excuse though, even though I was not really loved by my family. It's not an excuse for me to not be loved or to be loved, to show love. So I had to learn some radical things that were radical for me, right? There's no excuse for me to not learn it. I didn't know certain things because I didn't even speak. Watch this. I knew that I was supposed to speak, and I had a speech problem. I had a speech impediment of sorts because I was shy. So I was afraid to talk. That's why I became a great musician, because I learned how to speak through instruments. I didn't want to sing in front of somebody, but I loved to be the person that was singing in the background and playing some music behind you, and you could sing what I wrote. So I could speak without having to even be the one to speak. See, so I learned a lot of different things from there, and eventually it came to a point to where I recognized I have the calling. My mom was preparing me from 4 years old and had me speaking in front of people when I was 6, even when I was uncomfortable with it. Right? So if I saw what I'm supposed to do, I had to make a decision. I've got to start executing this. So I had to start addressing fear. See, and once again, it became a why. My mother has passed away, but however, even though she's passed away, she's still my why. Did you catch that? She has passed away and has been gone for years. Coming up on 20 years next year. She's been gone, right? So since I was 19-year-old little boy, right, because I was still a boy, I wasn't a man yet in my mind, my mom has been gone, right? And so I saw that she told me how great I was on her deathbed. I didn't know it was her deathbed until I went back to my command, and then they called me to say that as soon as I had left, basically she had passed away, right? But she told me on my deathbed the greatness. She had spoken that over me as a little child. Said even when I left being a Jehovah's Witness, she said, well, whatever you do, I know I've taught you well. I know that I've taught you how to be able to study. You're going to be able to do some great things. Go ahead and do it. So my why, even though some people would say she's dead, is greater than death. My why is my mom. Even though I can't even always remember her voice in my head, I hear her voice still. That doesn't make sense to some, but when you lose your parent or you lose somebody close to you, you know what I'm talking about. Even though I can't always remember her voice is still in my head. I still, when I'm preparing things, sometimes I still see her hand on the piece of paper giving bullet points. Even though she's not here, she's still my why. It's something greater than death itself. So why would I be afraid of death if my why is greater than death? Right? My why is my wife. I told you, my wife and all the sacrifices she made, and she was the one being the breadwinner, doing these things, making sure things were together, whatever. Told me from the beginning, though, that that's not what she wanted to do. So basically, I knew every year that she was the breadwinner, and every year she was feeling uncomfortable. That was a sacrifice for her. So for every sacrifice that she made, now when I'm doing this stuff for her, it's a sacrifice that's guaranteed to be made, because my why is bigger. See, some people are thinking I'm just doing it because I'm married to her or I just want peace. Well, yes, those are nice. However, my why is bigger than that. My wife was a living sacrifice, right? So therefore, therefore the Most High, He said, I beseech you, therefore, Kofi, by the mercy that I had on you who weren't in position yet, to become a living sacrifice for her, which is your reasonable service and is holy and acceptable. And you got to do what to do that? Every day you got to renew your mind. It's bigger. See, you guys think it's just the live session. It's bigger than the live session. You guys think it's, okay, somebody might give a gift or a donation or something like that. No, it's bigger than that. You think it's just about the diaspora. Look, even the diaspora is bigger, but my wife come before the diaspora. Ask anybody who's giving me a call. My wife is calling, hey, I'm sorry, hold on one second. I'll try to call you right back. This is my wife. You're not going to stay on the phone with me before my wife. I don't care if your life is in shambles right now, bro. I'm sorry. I apologize, but my wife come before your life. That sounds wild, but that's being a living sacrifice. That's about it being about something greater than myself. She is greater than myself. Uh-oh. Some people aren't even humble enough to do that. My spouse is greater than me. In my mind. Wait a minute, how you gonna say your spouse, I treat her better than I treat? Now watch this. I have to, it's hard because people aren't on the lives enough to where I say certain things. I got to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Sorry. Like, my wife and I obviously are in this together. We're becoming one, right? I have no problem though submitting to my wife. Let me say it like that. That would mess some people up. Where does the Bible say that the man should submit to his wife? Supposed to submit to the husband? Ephesians 5:21 says, "Let us submit one to another." Before you even get to that verse, right? I have no problem with it because the Bible and what a wife is and what Yah says she is and who she was called to be is greater than my little feelings about am I being too submissive. There's no excuse for lack of execution in the marriage. There's no excuse for me not being a beast in the marriage because I got to execute because it's bigger than us. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for me not being in my children's lives, no matter what somebody might say or do or whatever. Because guess what? At the end of the day, like, those are mine. Well, she won't let me see them. True that. Can you write letters? Well, she'll rip up all the letters. Okay, true that. Can you tell the court that she won't let them see you? Well, I'm not trying to do all that because every time I go to court, I didn't say what you're not trying to do. I'm saying, what is it that you can do? What is it that you can do? I'm telling you what I know. I'm not telling you what I've heard about or read about. I'm telling you what I know. People sit up here talking about, you talk about food and this and that. You don't know what it is. I've got this job and this and that. You think I've never had a job? You never think I had 2-3 jobs at the same time while trying to start and execute servants of Christ? I'm not trying to say that I'm greater than you. I'm not trying to look down on you. I'm trying to tell you, I get it. I comprehend it. I'm telling you, you got to push through. You got to be a beast in spite of. Right? You got a beast in spite of. And watch this. We talked about this before. Until it becomes a need, it's not going to be something you're going to do. A lot of people want to do something and then try to figure out what they need to do, what they need to do what they want. But you got to figure out what you need to do so that you can figure out what you want or now what you want to do. We had a whole thing on this. This might be something that was taken down off YouTube a long time ago too. I'm not even sure. But we talked about this a while ago. You have to need. A lot of people go off of want and not need. Like you want to do something now that you're going to try to do what you need to do later on. No, you need to do something now so you can do what you want later on. A lot of people go, I want to do something. I want to become this. I want to start the business. And then you say, okay, so what do I need to do to get what I want? No. Figure out what you need to do. What on the planet is there that needs you and nobody else can do it but you? Once you discover that, you will figure it out that everything you want to do is already taken care of because you already know what your need is for the planet. Because really what happens is all you want to do is what you're needed to do. A lot of people, though, just start giving off wants. I want to create this. I want to make money. I want to go to this school. I want to do et cetera, right? And so then they start going into wants and then they start saying, now that I go into all these wants, now let me figure out what I need to do. No, once you know what you need to do, your every want is to fulfill your need. Did you catch that? Once you get into what you need to do, your every want will become what you need to do. I'm sorry, you said I want to sign up for class. Is there a list for classes you can go look at? Some of it's on Kofi-40.com. If you go there, Kofi-ofori.com. Some of it's there. But you can contact me. Like I said, I got more time now. I'm trying to use this week to kind of slip back into the normal schedules that we used to have where I was out, calling and checking on everybody all day long and stuff like that. But just check in on the website, contact me, text me, email us, leave a comment. You know, if you leave comments even on the podcast, you know, go back to a podcast, leave a comment, go to the YouTube channel, leave a comment. If you have the TikTok information, DM me there, you know, whatever you got to do. You know, text us at the numbers that are on these podcasts when they're loaded up, 410 number or the 202 number. You know, these are different ways that you can get in contact with us. But, you know, don't let that. That's why we try to have all this stuff out there. We don't want anything to stop from execution, right? That's why I'm even taking a step back from some of the stuff I'm doing that really I needed to anyways for some personal time. But however, one of the main reasons I'm doing is because I need to make sure I'm executing with SOC. It's time for me to step out on faith and say, all right, full time, SOC, let's go. We were already doing it. However, you know, I was trying to do a little thing here, a little thing there. No, you know what? Let me give everybody that full execution. Let me show them what servants of Christ looks like with full execution. Let me show somebody who, you know, some people, if I be honest, some people have rolled out because we haven't gotten some things done that we probably could have if I was fully invested. Now, I think it might have been premature. It doesn't matter though. I get it. Like, because they want to see what something looks like fully invested. Now, they haven't found what they're looking for. However, you know, I can understand they're leaving, right? So full, I see you, Brother Derek. I think I saw you pop up, right? So, but full investment. You respect the message. Glad you caught the live. Glad you caught it too, Pam. Thank you. You said I choose a side hustle that allows me to create content and post community topics during the day. Amen. Right? But, you know, and once again, it gets to like, what are you going to do? What are you willing to do? What are you going to put into it? Yeah, that's what real men do. Amen. Yeah, at the time for excuses, you know, it's execution, right? Be a beast. I want you to, you should always be a beast. Don't be a beast when it's comfortable. Be a beast at all times, right? Don't be a beast when I'm at home. This is my domain, so I can cook, I can clean, I can watch the children. Well, shoot, if you can do 5 things at a time, why is it when you get to work that all of a sudden you like, I need silence. I can't do anything. You guys keep it down here. You yelling at other people, and they trying to figure out why you treating them like children. It's because you can only be a beast at home. Figure out what it is that you have in you, right? If you're able to multitask here, that means you can multitask there. Somebody said, how you do all this stuff at the same time? How do you read the comments? How do you go from this one to that one to this platform to that platform, do all these things or whatever? It's because I know how to multitask, right? I told you I'm a musician. If I'm playing the piano, I might have to play 4 or 5 parts at the same time. I might be playing 8 parts at the same time. I might be playing with all 10 fingers at the same time. If I'm playing the organ, I may be playing with all 10 fingers and 2 feet. If I'm playing the drum set, I'm playing with 4 different limbs, right? You know, if I'm playing the conga, even if I'm just playing the conga, I might have 3 different congas going on at the same time. If I'm playing the djembe, I got to be able to know the difference between ping, pong, and pong. Right? I need to be able to hit all those things. I need to know the difference between a West African beat, right, and the East African beat. I need to be able to hear it. I need to be able to hear the message in the song. I need to be able to hear the clave. Is the clave, or is the clave? Because even though it sounds similar, that's a big difference. Somebody dancing, I could break somebody's bones. There's been dancers who have messed up and broken limbs because somebody didn't know how to play the rhythm right. And they were listening to the rhythm, and the rhythm drove them to a place where they hurt themselves. This is a serious matter, right? Like, I got to execute. So once I learned I can multitask in music, then it became, well, why am I having an issue multitasking in real life? I know I can multitask. Multitasking is not the problem. So what is it in my mind that is not executing when I go from music to well, it's all real life, but when I go from music to when I go into the church, well, then I should be able to do 7 different things in here at the same time. I just got to figure out what it is, how the instrument plays. I know how to play the piano. Once I figured out how to play the piano, like even with the piano, here's a great example. You know, there's a difference between a Korg and a Yamaha. They look similar, but they're not the same. And there's a difference between a Yamaha that's got, you know, the Yamaha 88 and the Yamaha that's got this. There's a difference between the motif and the Yamaha. The motif, if I'm listening to music, I'm like, oh, that's a motif right there. I can hear the sound. I might hear something, oh, that's a Yamaha right there. You know, oh, that's the Motif 88. Like, I can hear it. It's there because of different things, right? So you, even in the piano, you got to learn every piano plays slightly different. Every person you meet is going to be slightly different, right? There's a distinction, right? But you got to execute. Here's the thing about the execution and being a beast at all times. The more you execute, the more you're a beast. You become a beast in the small details. Stop looking at, and look, I know some people look at micro, some people look at things macro, right? I'm telling you, you're going to need at some point to be able to be great at the micro. You're going to be at some point in your life. You're going to have a need. You're going to have a need to make sure that you can understand things at the lowest of details, at the smallest of statures. To stop despising the small beginnings. When something is small, that is when it is great, because it's a bunch of small things that causes the big thing to come into being. Right? You got to at some point get to a place to where you're a beast at the small things. Right? Somebody's like, I don't have the money yet. Okay, fine. Be a beast. Right? I don't have the dollars yet. Okay, are you a beast with pennies? I hear somebody, man, I would invest in Bitcoin. I would invest in Ethereum. I would invest in XRP. I would invest in Dogecoin. I would invest in Tron. I would invest, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just, I just don't have the money for it. You know how much one Bitcoin costs? One Bitcoin costs $60,000+. I don't have $60,000. You can invest in Bitcoin with $1 a day. Become great with $1 and watch the dollar stack up. When you get the little bonus here and there, take the bonus that you don't need anyways, put the bonus in there. Watch seeing your money start doubling. Right? Become great with pennies. Invest in some of these Bitcoins that are still 0.000008 worth, only that in cents, and buy $50 worth. Right? And then watch it grow. If it just loses 3 zeros on it, it just becomes 0.00008, then guess what happened? You just probably made like quadruple the money that you had in there. You see what I'm saying? And if that thing ever reaches $1, you thinking it's not even close to being worth a penny yet. Imagine that thing goes from being not even close to a penny to becoming $1, and you bought $50 worth of it. You're done, right? You're never working for any. You become unemployable. You can get whatever you want done to your house. You can get whatever land you want. You might be able to buy you an island. You're done. It's over. But people aren't thinking about that because we're making excuses. I don't have the money now. Doesn't mean that you can't have the money to do what you need to do later on. Figure out the need, and then you'll figure out that everything you want to do is attached to the need. Stop going for the want, right? That where now you got to figure out what you need to do. No, figure out what you need. What does your family need from you? What does your husband need from you? I bet you'll want to do it, right? If you really love him. What does your wife need from you? Right? Figure that out. I bet you'll want to do it if you really love her. Right? You said the penny market, watch daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. You said you like islands. Said every time I listen to you, you learn so much. Thanks. Oh, it's our pleasure. And thanks for being part of the community, right? So you got to be on point with that. You got to be online. You got to have the distinction and the dedication. You have the distinction of being somebody who has the dedication to make sure that they never allow anything to define them. Remember we talked about that word "find," or in define and definition. Definition means the place I've arrived at because of something that was defined. Define means that I took something that was fine or intact and I broke it down, right? So fine is what the word is, intact. And your life is fine. I know somebody's not going to want to hear this, but your life is fine. I've said this before. There is nothing in your life that has ever caused you to not survive. If so, let me know in the comment section what you haven't lived through, right? Right? So since we know that you have 100% survival rate, your survival is not even the point, right? This is why Luke chapter 6 verses, verse 20 something through 34, but basically verses 33 and 34 is what we usually settle on. That's why, hold on, I said Luke. Matthew chapter 6, verse 33 and 34, excuse me. That's why verses like that are so important. Seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Give no thought for tomorrow, because tomorrow already is taken care of worrying about the things for itself. Even sufficient until times of evil. Even in evil times, tomorrow is already going to keep on surviving. You have survived everything. Don't stop seeking survival. It says before that in the verse, right, that the birds, they don't sow, nor do they reap. But they don't worry about where they're going to live, though, do they? It says that the lilies in the valley are beautiful, right? And in all of Solomon's glory, when he was around in the Bible, the biblical Solomon, the king, in all of his glory, he never looked as good as a lily of the field. That's what it says, right? Look at the lilies, and the lilies don't even look as good or Solomon ain't even close to looking as good as the lilies. It said, and yet, right? It said even the grass that you'll cut and you'll mow and stuff to burn and get rid of. It says that even the grass is taken care of and it's going to grow and it's going to get fed and get everything it needs, even though it's just going to be thrown away. It says if Yahweh will take care of all those things, why are you worried about yourself? Why are you worried about yourself? What he even says, Yashua even asked the question. He says, what stature? Right? How many couple of steps of stature? What more will you add to yourself by worrying? What has your worrying got you? Has worrying ever got you a promotion? Has worrying ever started a business? Has worrying ever caused anybody to have success? Has worrying ever done anything but cause heart attacks and stress outbreaks and all types of outbreaks on your arms and different things like that? Like, worrying doesn't cause success or what we deem as success. Worrying causes worrying. Worrying gives birth to other worrying. Right? So if the birds aren't worried about this stuff, and why are you worried about your survival? You have never not survived. People go, man, you know what? I just got to stay with this job because I don't know how my family's going to be taken care of. Through the Most High. Now, I'm not saying leave your job today without making sure he's cool with it. Right? Write out a vision, make it plain upon the tablets that he that readeth it can run with it. However, like, you should probably trust him. What am I going to do? They're not going to let me work if I don't get this done. You should probably trust him. Well, you know, the courts come in, they're saying they're going to take this, they're going to take that, or whatever. You should probably trust him. The doctor said, I'm not going to live past this, and I don't know if, you should probably trust him. Dr. So-and-so is fine, but Dr. So-and-so didn't create you either. That's why he says, that's what that comment is. Seek ye first. Is be a beast when it comes to the kingdom of heaven and all his righteousness. And then you'll go into beast mode. All these things will be added unto you. Why are you concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow? Why are you concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow when tomorrow has already taken care of everything that needs to be worried for, sufficient even until the period of time that even will have evil. Even evil things that are going to happen, tomorrow is still already guaranteed to take care of itself. You're not even taking care of tomorrow. You're taking care of your gift and your calling in tomorrow. Tomorrow already existed to allow you to take care of your gift and your calling. Yet you can't take care of your gift or your calling because you're concerned about too many other things. Outside distractions. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Will my children agree with it? Will my spouse ever agree? Will I really be able to love myself? Will I love thyself? I don't know if I can really love myself. Self-care. Well, I don't know. I don't really love myself. Start today. Well, I don't know what love is. Love is an action. Well, what am I supposed to do? Action. Okay, fine. Look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful or you're handsome. Oh, well, I don't really believe it. Say it until you believe it. Right? I'm not trying to say it's simple, but I'm telling you, you got to grind now. And everything else that you do in life, you grind. Start grinding in this. You'll grind to make sure that somebody else is going to get on a better vacation. That's what you do. When you work harder this year and work harder, your boss is going to go on a better vacation this year than what he went last year, right? That's guaranteed. He's going to do that thanks to you. And he's going to thank you on his way out. Thank you for being so great. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. That's him saying, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to go on this vacation. I sure appreciate it. And he's going to take his top hat and he's going to dance on the way out, right? Kicking his legs up and everything on the way out, right? And you're going to be there working hard. Man, it's so amazing. We got a really good boss. He really likes us. And she might, right? But they like that vacation too. Why not take that for yourself? What's wrong with you being the one that says, I appreciate what you guys do? What's wrong with you saying, not only I appreciate you, I want to sow back into you all as well? Right? Like, this is a kingdom mentality. Seek first the kingdom. Right? I stopped being guilty a long time ago. People try to make you feel guilty, right? People who come to church services and stuff, people who never show up. I never even seen some of these people. I've seen them one time in my life, and a couple times they'll show up and be like, well, you know what, I'm glad there's musicians out there that'll play for free. Not knowing that for years and years and years, I didn't play for any money, and somebody only giving me, at the time, 100, 200. Sometimes I might get a nice place to give me $350 for a Sunday, but I'm not making, a salary out. Now, some musicians, some of these mega churches, they making $100,000 easily every year for playing music, right? And no problem with it. If the church is making tens of millions or whatever, hey, get your 100,000. That's cheap. right? You know, so I don't got no problem with it, right? However, I also comprehend, I also understand like what it is to play, but also I had to stop getting worried. Like when people, well, I'm glad there's people that won't take any offerings. Why would you not take an offering? Levites aren't even supposed to have get a job. Like, do you not know your Bible? If I'm supposed to be a Levite and lead the people, but I'm always at work, how in the world do I lead the people? That doesn't even make any sense. So you want me to lead you while not having time to study, right? I'm going to be at work. I'm going to be at work 8, sometimes the same amount of time. So what if I'm working 60 hours a week? And I used to work 60 hours a week, right? Or 80 hours a week sometimes, right? So I'm supposed to work 80 hours a week, study my word, give time to my wife and my children. Actually, let me say it like this. Give 80 hours a week, give time to my wife, barely see my children, make sure that I get some kind of sleep because I got to keep on working, and then make sure that on Sunday you get a word that's just as powerful as if I was studying for 80 hours this week. Make sure that you got a place to stay because we've invested in money and making sure that you got land. How does that work? If you want your leadership to be in a position like that, when you're talking about the community coming together, sometimes you got to have somebody that you invest in. That's why, like, people are beating you in this. In other communities, they already know. Like, they already tell their children, you're going to be a doctor. Like, this is what we need. We need you to be a doctor in order for us to do this. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a nurse. You're going to be a police officer. You're going to be there. And they start saying, we're going to put our family in position to where we're going to have ownership over some stuff. And they tell people straight up, like, this is what you're going to do. And so they already know from birth, okay, this is what my purpose is. And they're going to invest. And so, right, like and you have children that are being brought up to where people are sacrificing and giving them. Like, check this out. You know, like when we were growing up, there were people like, I tried to hang out with the G's, with the gangsters, with the hoods, right? With the cats that were in the hood, or we call it, you know, the hood rats out there, the chicken heads, all these people that we have these negative terms on them, right? Like, and I tried to be out there with them. They would not let me hang out. I stuck out like a sore thumb anyways, because I was righteous, but I was trying to not be righteous. But they would not let me hang with them. You know why? They were like, you can't be around us because we see something great in you. Right? You can't work where we work. Matter of fact, if you do things that are nice, we're going to make sure that we hook you up. We're going to make sure that we give you some things. You don't need to tell people it came from us, right? Because people are going to look at it as bad as it came from us. But we're going to hook you up. Why? Because you have something you're supposed to be doing out here. Even the gangster, the hood rat, the prostitute, they understood. The crackhead, they understood about putting into the children more than we do. We make fun of them. They'll give. I'm telling you straight up. The person that's living in the street, I promise you, there are people that live in the street. I helped them get off the street, helped them get home and all that stuff. We blessed them. We were taking care of them while they were homeless, all types of stuff, making sure their family was great, taking them on trips with us. Their children became like our children. Our children became like their children, right? Right? And even though we don't see them that much anymore, guess what? Every once in a while, out of nowhere, $500 donation out of nowhere. What in the world? Where'd this come from? Man, I told you when we get it started, we got you. Right? This is a dude that's still dealing with the street somewhat. I know he is. He ain't got to tell me. I know dude's still dealing with the street. But homie got me. Why? Because when he was at his low, we were there for him. And guess what? He said, I'm not going to let you come back. You did too much. You need to be out doing what you did for me, for other people. I can't leave you hanging like that. Somebody else will try to make me feel guilty about that. I'm done with that. Right? I got to be a beast, even if you're trying to make me feel guilty. Because the reason why I got what you are trying to accuse me of being and doing nefarious stuff with, the reason why I got what I got is because I was in beast mode before you even knew who I was. That was years ago. It's still showing up in my life. Because I sold something and now I can reap. That's the guarantee. I sieved. Remember we talked about that yesterday? When I sow into somebody else, right? We talked about, what was it? The 3 in a row. We talked about your environment, then we talked about your gift, then we talked about your calling. When you give a gift, you freely give it. When you freely give it, though, you never really freely give it. You're freely giving it with no charge, but you always are expecting it to sieve, to get something. And when you get something, if it's a true seed that you sieve, it will receive on its own. You will keep getting from it over and over again. I changed one man's value of his life. I spoke something different than what the rest of society said. When he was ready to give up on marriage, I told him don't give up. When he was out there sleeping on the street so that his children and his wife could be sleeping somewhere else where they were comfortable, before they finally would allow them to live together in a shelter, before they finally allowed them to be able to get the house that they live in, to where he finally was able to get the gig that he has, to where he finally was able to start his own moving business. So proud of that brother, right? But guess what? There was a time in his life he needed somebody to sow into him. And there was no sow into him this. No more excuses. You must execute. If you're on the street, execute. So guess what he was doing? Hey, he was into his music. Yo, still is into his music, right? So guess what? I'm going to produce your stuff for you. I'm going to have you out there. I'm going to have you come to this church and that church, whatever. I'm going to make some calls. I'm going to make sure that they know about GCO, God's chosen ones. I'm going to make sure that your group is out here and doing this or whatever. Get your house in order, right? In the meantime, all I'm asking is that you get your house in order, because when I get ready to go and start doing things and travel, and they ask me about certain things and they want to give certain funds in this, I'm going to say, hey, well, we need you to bring this music group. Still do it to this day. Right? Even though they ain't in their music and stuff or whatever, but they have the stuff in their head still got the beats. And so from time to time, who's going to show up with me? GCO, God's chosen ones, right? And we're going to make sure that your stuff is on there. They took it down off YouTube because it's on the YouTube channel. No problem. We're going to put it right back on there, right? But I need you to be in position. I need you to be in place. I need you to make sure that you're sounding this stuff, right? I need you to recognize that. I need you, because there's no excuse when there's no reason to not execute, right? When the time comes, tell your family, tell your friends, tell everybody, hey, when I get that call, tell your job, hey, look, there's a opportunity I have. We've had this plan for years. He gonna call me around this time. I'm just letting you know, before I take this job, you need to be able to let me off at such and such a time. No reason to not execute now. We didn't go through all those years of all that stuff and all that foolishness and all that craziness, and you thinking you were going to give up, and your wife thinking she was going to give up, and y'all still, you had children and couldn't even necessarily have custody over the children the whole time and all this stuff, and parents weren't accepting each other's because they didn't like the spouses you chose. No, you didn't go through all that hell to get to a place where you will not execute. Even when you homeless on the street, bro, and you can't see your family as much as you want, you can't even live with them, you can't even sleep with your wife. Right? I understand what you're going through. I know what that is. Right? But still, I had to execute. So guess what? I don't come from a place where you can't execute because you can't sleep with your wife. You still got to execute. I don't come from a place to where you can't see your children the way you want to, so you don't get to execute. You still have to execute. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that there aren't things you're going to have to fight through. What I'm trying to tell you, we're going to have it soon, Breezy. I had to redo some stuff because we had to redo the YouTube channel, but we're going to have some stuff for you guys to listen to free, and also some things that we're going to ask for donation for very soon, just like the books and stuff. So a lot of stuff that's going to be called. A matter of fact, on my son's YouTube page, I kind of got his beat finished already for his stuff or whatever, and working on the little rhyme scheme or whatever, and I want him to be involved with it, so that might take a little bit for my 6-year-old to be involved with the rhyme scheme. But we're having a lot of stuff like that, and some of you who are musicians, we want to do some stuff and execute with you as well, right? Have this stuff copywritten, have this stuff together. We want to do some stuff and execute with you as well, right? And make sure that we have ownership over our own product, and make sure that when you want to use it, you can use it, because your community is the people who own it. Therefore, you don't have to worry about somebody else giving you the right to use what's yours. You see what I'm saying? Or teach you, if it's something you're not doing with us or whatever you want to do, and teach you how to be able to do the stuff. Matter of fact, we might have it to where those of you who are interested in copyright stuff or in the future, maybe Brother Angelic Discipline can be able to put on some things for you guys, right? To be able to teach you how to do those things that we're already going to be doing. But these are things that, like, there's no excuse. I don't come from a place where even my family, who I have issues with, I never came from a place where there was an excuse for not executing, right? Even if you did something low down and dirty, right? And I come from a family that's been caught up on some low down, dirty stuff, right? But guess what? Even if you did something low down, dirty, still got to execute. It is what it is. Still got to execute. Right? Don't come up to us talking about, hear what I say. If you're going to be out here coming up and trying to do some music or something like that, right? Don't come up to be like a lot of these musicians out here where it's time to execute, and now all of a sudden you got every excuse in the world why you can't show up. This is a sadness, a sickness, is a disease that causes other things to be in your life. Today is the day that you execute. No reason not to execute. Be a beast at all times, not just when it's convenient, not just when you're not tired. When you're tired, that's when beast mode shows up. I just told you all the stuff that I did. If anybody can say that he's tired, right? This is the second live that I'm doing today. And I will have 2 more times I have to go on live today, right? If anybody could say, man, I throw in the towel, right? It could be me right now. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to say, look at me, I'm all that. No, I'm trying to tell you, like, experience. Been up in the rising, was up way before, was up getting stuff done before we got on the at 6:30 a.m. Eastern New York time, then got off at 7:45 a.m. Eastern New York time. Actually got off a couple minutes late, right? Got off more like 7:50 a.m. Eastern New York time. Then went from there to doing what? To coming on at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time to be on the line, get stressing through all that stuff to try and make sure that we had these things set up, to then get off here and get stuff done for my family, to then travel a couple hours, to then get back to the residence to be on live at 8 p.m. Eastern New York time again, to then be on at 9 p.m. See what I'm saying? And somebody would tell you, see what I'm saying about the grind? Somebody that doesn't want to support your grind would then tell you, well, you need to have a job on top of that and stop asking people to give any type of donation. Well, if you want what I'm giving you, and basically giving most of that I'm talking about, most of the hours and time-wise is going to be free. There's only one thing that's donation driven, as far as you got to give a donation to be able to get. And all the stuff I mentioned today, there's only one thing that's going to happen that's going to be donation driven. Everything else is something that you're getting for free. Why would I not, if somebody wants to give a donations for something, why would I not accept it? Right? But people will try to stop your grind. I'm telling you, like, you got to be in a position where you are a beast at all times, and be ready for people to try to stop the grind. As soon as you say you're going to start cooking the food, somebody going to say, I mean, shoot, you don't need to cook food like that anyway. I mean, where you going to get the money for this and that or whatever? Come up with the vision that causes it. Come up with a vision, or write down the vision. How about that? Well, watch this. See, this is what I'm trying to tell people. See, talking about work for free. See, like, let's say you want to make some bagels. That's your mission in life. You want to get in the bagel game, and you make dope bagels, right? Maybe that's what you even gonna call it, dope bagels, right? And you want to make dope bagels, but you don't have time to do anything. You don't have the money. Well, guess what? How about this? Take $100 worth of supplies and make some dope bagels. Then, in your own little apartment complex, your cul-de-sac, your neighborhood, whatever it is, your job even, bring a whole bunch, take it to your job, and bring in a bunch of dope bagels one day, right? And put the dope bagels on the table and just put them there. Say, hey, I brought these for everybody. Somebody taste them. People taste them during work. People taste them all over. Make sure that you got a toaster. Make sure everything that you need that you would have if it was your store, you bring it there, right? And you bring it for free. Bring your gift and freely give. Freely give. Watch this. Watch somebody say, man, these bagels is dope. Dope bagels is dope for real. Like, where you get these from? Oh, it's a business of mine. Oh, really? How much you sell something for? I buy this every day. If you bring it in, for real? Okay, I mean, if you willing to pay me, I don't know, like, what kind you want? You want the kind with the salmon? You want the kind with this? You want the kind with the wasabi? You want the kind with the butter? You want the straight up bagel? You want the sesame seed? Whatever. Man, you know what? Like, let me give you. I'm a little different. Let me go ahead and get the little salmon jump with the wasabi on it. Okay, cool. If you're willing to pay $15 a week, I'll make sure I bring you, 5 of them every week. Man, that's dope. That's what's up. Dope bagels is like that, man. I'm going to tell some of my people about it. You got a website or something? Yeah, we developing it. Give me like 2 weeks and it'll be ready. 2 weeks. But that ain't, man. People need to be on this. Well, I got I can put a little temporary thing up real quick if you want, but also here's the number. Here's my card. You have some cards out, right? Like, freely give is the execution point. Don't freely give just to freely give. I'm talking about execute in the giving. You see what I'm saying? You just got a beast mode. Like, you just literally had a beast. You now are a beast at business just because you introduced something that somebody didn't have. That's what you're doing. You're introducing something that somebody doesn't have access to. People listen here, whether it be 10,000, whether it be 100, whether it be 2 people, whether it be people on multiple platforms at the same time, whether I can only get one platform up at a time, whatever it is, people listen in here. You know why they listen in here? Because they get something that they don't get anywhere else. And guess what? If you can get something from somebody that you don't get from anywhere else, you can't pay for that. That's why people pay you, because in essence, when people pay you, they're giving you a tribute. They're giving you a tithe. They're giving you an offer. And they're saying, look, I can't get this from anywhere else, so I'll sow into you before I sow into anybody else. That's all they're saying. They're not paying you for anything. Can't nobody pay you for a gift that you got that's eternal? How can somebody pay you something that's finite for something that's infinite? If I give you something of me that's eternal, you can't pay for that if you wanted to. I can't pay for it. Right? But you know what I do? You know what the cost of it is? The cost is the development of it, being a beast in it, loving it, giving all I have to it, making sure my family is provided for through it. Right? That's what I pay. Right? And that's the payment I get back. Right? But you can't afford. I'm not trying to say this to act like I'm all that. Once again, I'm just being real, like using the Bible to tell you what it actually says, using the context correctly. Like if you're using a gift that you have, nobody can pay you what your value is. Right? The only thing that was worth your life, right? We are in sin and all this stuff, and the only thing that could cover us was the blood. The only thing that could actually redeem your life that was valuable is that the one who created eternity had to put himself in a time situation and die for you so that he could go back to eternity and you could follow him back. That is the value of your life, that the Most High himself was willing to die for you to give you your true value. That's how much he values you. Is anything worth the death of the Most High? Is anything worth the death of the Most High? You were. Salah, right? That's what we're talking about. Right? So be a beast at all times. Not just when it suits you. Not just when it suits thee. Be a beast at all times. And you'll discover in being in beast mode at all times, being a beast in the small things, being a beast in the bigger things, whatever it is, you'll discover that the more you're in beast mode, the more things come to you. Right? The less you're in beast mode, the less things come to you. Right? That being said, thank you all so much for being on. I appreciate the king and queen in each and every one of you. Even if you're not living inside of that kingdom or queendom yet, we appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. Those of you who want more information on what we're doing, whether it be the land project, Yah's Land Project 83, whether it be classes that we give out, whether it be links for different things that we're doing, whether it be for meetings that are going to be coming up soon, whether you just want to have some life coaching, marital coaching, you just want to have conversation, you want to ask some questions, you want to be part of the community, you want to build something similar to what we're building for yourself, whatever the case might be, just looking to, if you're on Facebook, if you're on the podcast, if you're on YouTube, you can just look in the description box to be able to find out more information on how to get in touch with us and to figure out what we're doing. I would suggest going to the website. If you're on TikTok, you can just take a screenshot. Hashtag FindKofi, by the way. Hashtag FindKofi is just the way of being able to find this on any social media platform. It's actually also our YouTube channel name. So if you go on YouTube and you're looking for us, just look up hashtag FindKofi, FindKofi. You can go to the website, www.kofi-ofori.com. That's KOFI-OFORI.com. You can also text us at 410-714-5078. Once again, that's 410-714-5078. You can also text us at 202-599-7312. Again, that is 202-599-7312. You can DM us. You can hit us up on Messenger. You can put a comment in the comment section, whatever it is. Just hit us up, let us know, and we'd be glad to be able to get back to you as soon as possible. As I said, this week is kind of me flowing back into the natural progression of things, and next week we're going to hit the ground running. However, I'm trying my best as much as I can even this week to start getting in the habit again of calling people and checking on you, and you guys being able to call or text me throughout the day. I should be more available today. Like I said, it's still somewhat of a family day, and investing in some things that are actually going to teach us about making sure we're actually doing little stuff in Amish country today. We're going to learn some things to make sure that we can utilize that down the road. So you guys pray for us on that journey. That's part of what we'll be doing today, and teaching and doing some homeschooling stuff as well. But that's part of what we'll be doing. And then we'll take our leave. We'll be on traveling for a couple of hours. So pray for us. We should be back wherever I am at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time, or even 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time. Everything still will be on for the live and then for the class later on. And pretty much at this point, it's kind of too late, I would say, to join the classes, but it's up to you. We're going to have a conversation if you're interested in the classes. We have classes on marriage, monarchy, sovereignty, natural medicine 1, fibroid cyst, and Hebrew characters. So if you'd like to join us for that, let us know. And we're thankful and grateful. Remember, sisters, December 18th is right around the corner at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern in New York time for our Women in Red. So we invite you to come out there. We'll have the Zoom link for that the closer we get to you all there. Remember, on Shabbat Shalom, on the Kofi 40 podcast, we'll be talking about our sisters. We just did a men for a month straight. So my wife is now going to take over. We're going to deal with our sisters for a month straight. Remember, too, that we're looking at having a, besides our marriage contracts, if people are interested in those, we're going to start doing that next week. But also, if you would like to be able to be somebody who goes through, is baptized in the name of Yahweh Yashvai at Ruach HaKodesh, feel free to, let us know where you are in the country. And if you would be interested in it, we're going to start writing out that list. I guess we can start writing it out this week. So if you want to let me know specifically, like, yes, when you guys come to, we're going to basically do like Southwest U.S. minus Florida. Florida will be like its own. So we're going to do Florida. We're going to do like the Southwest U.S., the Northeast U.S., Central U.S., or Northern Central U.S., Southern Central U.S., and possibly the West Coast if we have enough people on the West Coast. I don't know how many people are on the West Coast, but if you're willing to meet us somewhere or whatever, we're willing to be a blessing to you and to see the Most High move in your life through baptism. So we're thankful, we're grateful, we appreciate you all. As always, this has been Pastor Kofi, aka the Shadow Band One, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we're always changing lives one mind at a time, but being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. Please follow my wife, Bloom and Flourish. You can follow her on TikTok, YouTube, and her website. That's not the letter, or that's not A-N-D, but it's the letter N, Bloom and Flourish, on TikTok, YouTube, and her website. We want you to be hearers of this word and doers as well. And our prayer, that's our prayer, in the name of Yahweh, Amen. And we look forward to you. Also, last thing I forgot, on the podcast, on Shabbat Shalom, we will be back this Shabbat, this Saturday. We will be back at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time. So we will not go at 9:15 anymore. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled 10 a.m. Eastern or New York time, okay? Thank you all again. We are on every day. If you haven't been with us before, we're on every day at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time. We're on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern of New York time. Thank you for being on. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you all later. Remember, this is our year of pursuit, where we're pursuing the promises of the Most High. We're going to hashtag finish strong in that, so that next year, come Passover, we're going to transition from January to Passover to going from our year of pursuit to living in what we have pursued. All right? So we thank you. We appreciate you. And as always, remember that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, we shall be the reason this world, or people that are in this world who are in this system, they don't have to be of it anymore. Talk to you later. Peace. I stumbled over that ending, huh? That's funny.